Welcome everyone to a special episode in Clueless Insanity. The stage is set. We are all ready to witness the very first World Test Championship happening at the Ageas Bowl, Southampton in England. We are just 2 days away, and all the players are ready. We received the squads here, and immediately Clueless Insanity is on it with a special episode series called Behind Enemy Lines. Joining me today is Vignesh. Say hi, Vignesh. Vishal, Vinay, and
Hi.
Newbie, Amog, and Avi. And as always, I'm Akshar. And I'll be your host today. So let's start off right at talking about India's adversary. They were number two on the points table, but they really look like the favorites going into this side. Abhi, you can start this conversation off. New Zealand, just what about them? What about them do you think is their greatest asset right now?
Yeah. Now, before I get into that question, I just want to say how it's a great occasion that we're doing this because first of its kind, we have this WTC finals, right? And
Yeah.
also wanted to talk about Test cricket a little because it's a revival of it. Because if you see, there are three kind of followers in this modern day T20 era. One is the followers, the watchers, and then the rest. So what I mean by followers is those who just check the scores or watch it whenever possible, and then watchers are people like us who sit and watch each and every session. Probably, if not 90 overs, at least 80 overs. That's good enough to get a new ball, right? And then the rest, who would say Test cricket is boring and all those things. So coming back to the question, uh, New Zealand, they're always the dark horses of cricket, world cricket, right?
Mhm.
You never term them as favorites, but they're always there. Uh, we saw them in the 2019 World Cup and the 2015 World Cup, and big occasion, they obviously rise up to it. And WTC also is a very important event, ICC event. So you can never write them off, and you won't expect them. That's the beauty of this game, right? So teams which you don't expect, if they are in the finals, obviously it adds more value to the game, and that's the beauty.
Yeah. Uh, can't Yeah, I can't gush on New Zealand enough. We Indians pretty much, I think, have adopted the New Zealand side, and probably people are out there saying if we lose, it's best we lose against New Zealand and not someone else. But we'll win. I am confident of that. Going further, Vignesh, the New Zealand just came up with a spectacular series against England. We know that the conditions suit them better than India, but right now they seem to be, red hot in form, both bat and ball performing. Your thoughts on how they're going to fare against the Indian side?
I think so. It's going to be a very exciting encounter. I think so. It's going to be two good teams. You cannot take anything away from New Zealand. It's not only they're playing 11, but they've also got a good squad. So if they and it's clearly seen during the England the Test series, they had players who may not make it to the playing 11, still play played the game quite well, performed. Like for example, Will Young, he scored 82
Mhm.
during the second test. So
Yeah.
they've got a really deep squad, and that boasts well to the talent that is coming out in New Zealand, and it's a clear indication of why New Zealand has been at the top of their game, whether it may be tests, ODIs or T20. So I do not expect anything of anything short of basically a war. Like the New Zealand rugby team. I don't expect the cricket team to come out with the haka. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do that, given the opportunity and then
Yeah,
the energy associated with the World Test Championship.
it's very funny that you gave an analogy of rugby when we consider them the truest gentlemen in world cricket right now, and to associate gentlemen with something rough and tough like rugby. But yeah, that's the mental fortitude that Vignesh is talking, and he's absolutely right. These guys are no pushovers. and we will definitely see that in the World Test Championship. Going further, Vishal, I did say the stage is set, so let's talk a bit about the stage as well. We know that it is an Aegis Ball in Southampton, a pitch that is slightly also spin friendly. We also know that it's likely to be overcast with good chances of spells of rain here and there, and yeah. So and recent past history says that we are not so. New Zealand have always been had the better hand over India. The stage is, so let me know how this historical play set doesn't even matter in Virat Kohli's 11.
It does. It's the first of its kind, as Abhi mentioned. It's almost like a World Cup final in Test cricket. Two good teams to be playing in the final, and all set. And coming to AGS Bowl, not exactly sure how the pitch is going to be. If you see last few games played at the AGS Bowl, the international games, and as well as the county season this season, Hampshire played the games in AGS Bowl. The results have been mixed bag to a certain extent, where there have been instances where teams have been bowled out for 80. There have been instances where teams have scored more than 300 runs. So, but I do expect the pitch to offer some assistance to the pace bowlers as well as the spinners, keeping in mind this match, keeping in mind the importance of this match. And New Zealand, yes, well, they are not, there are no more pushovers. One of the most consistent sides in international cricket. If you see in the ODI format, they have made the semi-finals in the or above in the last 4 editions, and you see them again in the final of the championship. So there's going to be the match is going to be very toughly fought between two high-class teams, and the team which adopts better to the pressure situation and plays better in patches or in sessions will be the team which comes on top, out on top.
Yeah, so basically, Vishal is very right in saying that it depends on every session. So it's a 15 session game, and you need to be contesting in every single session to win a match of this caliber. Will India's unfamiliarity with this condition, or rather lack of true match preparations, although they have played a few matches, do you think that will catch them short at some point?
Yes, to begin with, I was just thinking about the same thing. Both sides are paused, very well prepared for themselves. But the only concern I see is India doesn't have a game before, but wherein New Zealand have just moved out of that cricket against England. So that would be one major thing that would be concerning. But I don't think practices are left out. We are ready for that particular thing, and then we are seeing the scrollings that comes across the PCI TV. So I think seeing that taking that into consideration, I think we are very well prepared for that situation. The only concern I have is how are we going to target the middle order of New Zealand, because we all know that it's not the top order, it's not the the tail enders, but it's the middle orders who's going to trouble India. So that is the one major concern that we have, and as we already know through the news that the pitch conditions are suiting for both the oppositions is what they say. It might favor the spin after day 3, but there is also the overcast thing that is causing us and it might be playing a major part for us. So there are showers expected all 5 days is what the reports talk about. But fingers crossed that we get full 5-day game and we get all the sessions running, and on a positive note we finish it on a higher note, and we will get back to WTC to India. That's what we
Precisely.
feel.
A lot of important points made there by Vinay. He's right in talking of lower middle order. If you see the England series where Sam Curran caught a shot, or say players like Cameron Green giving that extra impetus in the Australia series, it's important that India wraps the tail quite quickly, and I think that's a good point. Before we get into selection and that drama, Amog, a point on India's squad selection, some key players missing out, like Mayank Agarwal and players like Washington Sundar, Shardul Thakur. Your thoughts on the squad of 15 itself?
Yeah, I think only Mayank Agarwal was slightly disappointing that he didn't even make it to the cut. So they're very clear with the two openers. I was thinking that he would always be in the standby as a third opener, and on that particular day they would take a call. But it seems like when they flew to England, they had their top two ready. So that was a shocker. But obviously, Washington Sundar and Shardul Thakur. Shardul Thakur was never, he was like the 18th man, and because of the injuries, he came into the Australian 11. But Shardul Thakur was never there. But he did do an important contribution to be part of this, the fact that we are in the World Test Championship finals is all thanks to, his small contribution in that GABA. So everyone know, you have to like tick the box of everyone's contribution, and I'm happy with this 15 for sure.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you to make some important choices here, gentlemen. We'll go in the same order. Abhi, India's openers. I think there is actually no choice there, but yeah. But I guess it's gonna be Gill and Rohit Sharma.
Yes, no brainer there. So they're very clear with that. When they announced the 15 with no Mayank in it and no KL Rahul in it, obviously it's Gill and Rohit will be open.
Okay. Yeah, it's actually a no-brainer, as Abhi just mentioned. Vignesh, India's keeper, Rishabh Pant or Riddhiman Saha?
Rishabh Pant all day long. I think so. We need that X factor in our team, and I think so. Rishabh gives us that. He's come out with a newfound energy, and I think so. He's basically bubbling at this point. He's Rishabh 2.0, like Robo 2.0, and I think so. That will basically lift our team, and it provides this fear factor towards the opposition that they know that if he walks in, the game is on. It's like on. It's like 2 levels higher. They need to focus even more, because if they slip up at that point, then the game is over for them. So I think so. Definitely Rishabh Pant.
You can change the match in a session. So yeah,
he's a Ben Stokes of India.
Definitely.
That's Amok's take on that. Vishal, important question. How many spinners will India play? 1 or 2?
In my opinion, they should play 2. So they should play both Ashwin and Jadeja. Go with 5 bowlers. And because looking at how the conditions are going to be in AJ's bowl, and as Vinay mentioned, after day 3, the wicket will start to spin. Most probably. So it's better to have Jadeja and Ashwin, and more than that, they are world-class spinners. They have been, I think they should be in the top 5 of the best spinners in the world going around. So they should play the final.
Yeah, Abhi, you can start, but
No, just a point regarding the spinners. When according to the stats, when both Ash and Jaddu has played, we have not lost in the past. In the last 20 games or something. I read that stat somewhere. So
okay, it's a very interesting stat. But have they both played in outside India?
That even I am not sure about that.
Yeah, so I don't think India's ever fielded 2 full-time spinners in a long.
I think they just
someone
played.
Should just post that in Virat Kohli's Instagram or Twitter handle so that he reads this stat.
Okay. Anyway, Vinay, a question for you. So your front 3 pacers, or do you also think just 2 spinners strategy, or do you want 4 pacers?
No. I would also stay with the 2 spinner strategy, because as the stat Abhi was telling about, and it's not about the stats, but we do have the balance as well. So if you're going with Ashwin and Jadeja, we do know that we are actually strengthening our lower middle order as well. So, and Ashwin knows it better. Ashwin knows it more better. So he would be leading that attack. And we all know that Jadeja's performance against New Zealand is always on the mark, and we can't take out Jadeja if you're playing against New Zealand. 2 important things that Jadeja adds is the pace that he puts on, rips on the ball, that could play a very, very important role in between. I mean, if we are going to bat first and then pile up something and then we ask them to go about it, then Jadeja is going to play a major role there. So that is where I feel that Jadeja has a higher end hand position both ways, batting as well as and his batting style suits
Very good. Very
when
good
they're
point.
playing for against New Zealand actually, because the pace, he loves the pace that is coming to him. He does just take that away, and then that will also be an added advantage. So I would also go with 2 and 3, 2 spinners and then 3 paces.
Actually, one thing about Jadeja's inclusion that enhances our batting lineup is he becomes the second left-hander in the team.
Hmm.
So in a sea of right-handers, we have another batting left-hander, which brings about a mixture also for, and it makes it harder for their bowlers.
To
Because we had,
line batsmen up. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
Amog, your choice of it seems that this panel is overwhelmingly in favor of 2 spinners. So then the natural question is which 3 pacers?
So,
Amog.
so yeah. See, I'll tell you what. When you go with 4 paces, the
Yeah.
fact that I'm just telling you the options because of why you don't want to go with 4 paces is then it literally becomes like Ashwin is your last batsman and you have one huge tail, and that's a huge risk to take at this situation because you're not even going with Hanuman Vihari as a batsman then. Your batting is like literally once Ajinkya Rahane is out, you're like, okay, Rishabh Pant, he may win you a match, may not. Ashwin, again, is Indian conditions probably is definitely a good person. You can trust on him, but foreign, it just makes the tail really weak. And that is one reason why I want Jadeja there more than a spinner. Trust me, I don't even want him to bowl. I want him there because he will give you, he's a gun fielder and he'll bat and he'll score you 40, 50 runs for sure. So that is the reason why I want him. My 3 paces, which your actual question was, is Bumrah and Ishant, which is a no-brainer. Who is Virat going to favor, Shami or Siraj is the question mark.
Not the question. That's the question to you. You need to choose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind anyone. I don't mind anyone.
Okay. Others on the panel.
Siraj.
Your choice of third pacer. Any difference?
I guess it's more to do with the intra-squad practice match. It depends on who would have performed well or on the confidence level. The 15 also, the game would have had a more impact on the selecting the 15 as well. You saw Gill performing well and Pant also performing well.
Yeah.
So in that regard, the pacer also might be selected based on that performance. I'm not saying that is the only criteria. That's like adding those brownie points for the selection criteria.
That's true. That gives enough a thing to the team management so that they know which players to choose. But the fact that we have 15 quality players is already awesome. Yeah,
I think as a selection point of view, what I'm thinking is Bumrah gets the ball in and he does know the knack of getting the ball away. Ishant can get the ball in only. So you would want a Shami because he gets the ball away. And that, is something again Siraj can't do. Siraj also gets the ball in naturally. And or if he's a natural outswinger, then they might again prefer Siraj. Someone should take the ball away from the right hand because you have 2 people.
If that's your criteria.
I mean,
I won't be surprised actually. I won't be surprised if Shiraz gets in.
As a major talks is they have not included Ishant. When I read a lot of articles and probably they not included Ishant. It's Bumrah, Shami, and Siraj.
Yes, that's the one thing that actually driven me through.
See,
so that's what I was talking about.
With the number of left-handers and if Ishant is fit, I don't see why he shouldn't be playing. He's like the broad of India. He just keeps nicking the left-handers away, and I think he's really vital. If he's fit, I think he should be there in the team. He's like a number 1 seamer then.
The factor I see is although it didn't play a major role in Australia, is that it's Siraj's first series again in England. And the fact that you give a new guy the responsibility to hit the right lens immediately is always a question mark. The fact that he proved everyone right in Australia is a great plus for that series. But to give him that confidence again is a big move. And if Virat Kohli chooses that, that's quite commendable. Anyway, I think we are at the end of today's campaign. Just thank you all for joining. And
I would just like to add one last point, and you know, I feel that this one match, like is more than the talent, more than everything. It'll come down to your mental ability, and I think who holds on to it better, because each have got bad memories in that particular country. India has obviously 2019 we lost to New Zealand over there. New Zealand obviously is coming on a baggage with having lost the World Cup, and in the manner that they lost the World Cup. So they have histories of failures there, and who can handle that mental pressure of that big match day will actually triumph. That is going to be the difference between the two sides.
Yeah, I agree with Amok, but it's just that in Test cricket there is no movement. There are moments, and hence the 15 session principle is more important. And I think it's it's more a marathon. It's not a sprint, and hence the team that is more stronger and can sustain that for longer will win. And that's why this is the best format of cricket out there.
And that's why this the format also is not a individual sport, but it's also based on team effort. You need each and every member of the playing 11 to actually contribute for the team to win. Unlike ODIs.
That's why there's no X Factor question.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. I don't ask X Factor questions for test matches. I feel that it makes no sense.
I want to just add it up that may the best team win actually, but this test match is going to bring test match to it's going to bring it to alive again. We know that we are into T20 format, but this format of World WTC, which has been there, which will definitely give the test match the upper heights, and we might start seeing test match also growing up the same way as T20s in sooner past. So this is going to be the one stepping stone that would be adding up for test match cricket. We all know how good test match cricket is, and cricket without test match is nothing, and you don't have to prove anything apart from playing your mental strength there. So as Amok said, I totally agree with that. And may the best team win, but let the best team be India.
That's a very nice biased opinion. Thank you for that. And thank you all for joining me today, and thank you viewers for watching this special episode in Behind Enemy Lines. We will see you very soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers.